Hello? Are you doing something right now? I want to show you the main differences between these two portable vices. It's not true that the model that looks better on paper and is more expensive has to be better for everyone. And of course, I don't want to claim that the smaller and cheaper model will definitely be better for you. It depends on what you expect from it, but also on your physical capabilities. Some people call it sawhorses, but Triton has registered the trademark Super Jaws, meaning super jaws. I understand that the term cozy is quite popular because it has a double meaning. For some it evokes, how should I say, well, those domestic animals, but when I saw those so-called, he put the goats among the sheep because we don't have goats, so it didn't occur to me that the sheep would think they were goats. It's not about having a winner and a loser in the end, but about having comprehensive information so you can make the right decision on which of these models is more suitable for you. This is the higher model XXL and this is the lower model, but only on paper in terms of parameters and price, because in reality they are both exactly the same height, which is 1.80 centimeters. That's handy if you wanted to get one of each and then clamp a board into them as a work surface so that it will be parallel with the base. And what does the XXL designation mean in brief? It means some better parameters on paper, also larger dimensions, larger clamping jaws, a wider clamping range, higher load capacity, but also higher weight and higher price, or slightly broader possibilities for using additional accessories. How does it actually work? You have one fixed jaw and one movable jaw here. And you can remove the movable one if this clamping capacity is not enough for you. Rotate it like this by 180 degrees. And this will achieve maximum capacity. What is also important is that both visors are operated by foot. They have a pedal here so you can hold the clamped object with both hands and securely fasten it using the pedal. This is extremely handy and is probably the main benefit. The movement of the jaws and then the actual clamping are controlled not only by the foot pedal, but also by the switch. If you only move the movable jaw in the open lock position, you can actually bring it right up to the object, but you won't clamp it. You need to switch it like this. And only then, with the next press of the pedal, the clamping force will stay in place. Conversely, if you want to release it, you have to lift it up again. Press the pedal with slightly more force than when you were tightening, it will release, and then you can move the jaw again. Regarding the maximum clamping capacity, it is slightly larger than that of the smaller model. I need to take a cheat sheet for this, specifically 1020 mm, and here it's just in quotes, just 950 mm, which means slightly over a meter, almost a meter. But be careful, you might expect a continuous transition between this position and that position, meaning there won't be any dead spots, but that only applies to the lower model. With the taller one, it's not like that, because in this position you can clamp a maximum of 425 mm. And when you rotate it, the minimum you can clamp before it starts expanding again is 574 mm. This means there is a dead space of about 15 centimeters between 425 and 574 mm. Essentially, a dead space between 425 and 574 millimeters, where you simply can't clamp such a large workpiece or object. You have to help yourself with something like a shim, etc. I think that's not entirely thought through. For the smaller one, it actually follows through because in this position, the maximum is 455 to 475 when these inserts are removed, and the minimum in the reversed position is 475, so it really follows through perfectly. As for the clamping force, it is the same for both of these visors, specifically 10,000 N. Imagine having 1 ton lying on you. I don't think you would be able to move. It's not true, as mentioned in one part of the manual for the smaller vise, that a single pedal press should result in a movement of only 12 mm. Elsewhere in the text, the correct value is already given, 1 inch, which is approximately 25 mm, the same as the larger XXL model. The Super Jaws have 3 legs, which is an advantage on uneven surfaces because 3 points determine a plane, so it will never wobble. This is some weakness because in the back part, where there is only 1 leg, the stability is somewhat worse. How to increase stability? You can either step on the flat legs at the front, also anchor them to the base, or also use the Super Jaws too. Such a work surface made up of 2 portable visors from Triton and a solid workbench is absolutely stable. I use the one made from old oak and I can't complain. Unfortunately, there is neither a surface nor any non-slip pad at the back. there is a very simple leg. If you were to use it somewhere on softer terrain, you would need to place some kind of pad underneath it. Let's take a moment to focus on the larger, heavier and more expensive XXL model. What's good about it and what's not so great. As I said, larger capacity, but unfortunately a dead spot right around the 50 centimeters mark, where without additional accessories like some spacers, you simply can't clamp the object. Regarding the heavier weight, it is naturally a bit more difficult to handle, but that's why there are two additional handles here, which are not present on the smaller model. One is here at the front, and the other foldable one is here at the back, which allows you to transport it quite easily, whether in the assembled or disassembled state. As for the one at the back, I'm not sure it's meant to be carried upright because it's quite tall. And if you don't happen to be 2 meters tall, you'll have to lift it with one hand, which can be quite challenging. So, carrying around 21 kilograms for your biceps isn't exactly fun. Therefore, I think it's better to carry it with both hands. Or in the folded state, when it is turned upside down, you can grab it by one of the rear legs. Unfortunately, there is relatively little space for fingers, so if you have slightly thicker fingers, it will be difficult to insert your hand there. However, this position is probably the most comfortable for carrying with one hand. This is done a bit better on the smaller model, or because it's lighter, it's simply easier to carry even if your fingers aren't completely hooked in. Due to the higher weight, it's a good idea to develop a system for setting it up on its legs, or read the user manual, where I think it's quite nicely described, because otherwise you'll be struggling with it unnecessarily. And I would say that the adjustment of the legs is a bit worse here. In the folded state, it is secured by a ball that fits into this hole. I have a problem where sometimes a bit of skin gets caught and it pinches me. And I haven't really warmed up to this securing system either. I feel like it's much better solved here because you just fold it, tilt it, and when assembling you just spread the legs and it clicks into place and is secured. So this system seems a bit more convenient to me, simply less demanding to operate. Another advantage of this model is that when you store it upright on this side, this plastic switch is protected so it doesn't rest on it. Therefore, for upright storage, this model is somewhat more suitable. In this case, I would probably set it up the other way around because the switch extends beyond the profile and you could damage it. The SuperJaws XXL are generally made from slightly more massive materials, whether they are wider or thicker. Specifically, this fixed jaw is a bit thicker, and the manual even states that you can use it for some lighter tasks as an improvised anvil. The difference is also in load capacity. While the smaller vise can hold 200 kilograms, the larger one can hold up to 250 kilograms. Various accessories are made for both vises. There are a few more for the XXL model, as it also uses the holes in the body. These are crossbars on which you can add some additional accessories, such as, unfortunately, it is currently not available here in the Czech Republic, so if you desire it, you will have to wait for some time. What is available, however, are additional jaws. Some are actually metal for various logs, beams, and similar items. They are actually like serrated jaws, which allow you to bite into the wood better. And the second set of additional jaws are cast iron, which are profiled so that you can clamp cylindrical objects, pipes, square tubes, and similar items. Both additional jaws that I'm showing you here are designed for the smaller model and do not fit the larger one. You would have to order accessories that are specifically for the XXL model, and they may not always be in stock. The standard for SuperJaws specifically includes rubber pads, which are also attached using pins and an additional counterpart. In my opinion, this solution is not the best, and each model has it done a little differently. However, I believe that a skilled and creative DIY enthusiast can manage and even make their own inserts, whether from wood or another material, depending on what they want to clamp. So I don't forget, the XXL model has slightly wider and especially taller jaws. The XXL model also has a small detail that slightly simplifies handling the sliding jaw, which is more massive and heavier. And there is a screw pin you can screw in to move the jaw. Otherwise, exercise caution. It's good to secure the jaw in some way during transport. If you have those sawhorses set up, you can just lightly step on them to just keep them secured. Otherwise, on the smaller model, there's a rotating element at the back that secures the jaw so it doesn't come out completely. This larger model doesn't have any such locking mechanism, but since it's assumed that you'll be holding it either with both hands or vertically, the jaw shouldn't come out. Both SuperJaws models arrived in what is called a dry state, where the movable jaw was quite stiff. A bit of plastic grease solved it, so I recommend everyone to thoroughly lubricate that movable part to prevent it from scraping off the powder coating and of course to make it easier to handle. Let's move on to the actual use of the Super Jaws. There are so many possibilities, and you will surely come up with more than I can, because you simply have your own specific needs and requirements. I was just intrigued by the manual, which specifically pointed out that they can be used for servicing a bicycle. I tried it, and it's true, it's really handy. Thanks to those rubber pads, the bike frame can be clamped firmly yet gently. Of course, clamping some long objects is also an option. However, there's a bit of a stability issue, so I would recommend some additional support or having 2 of the Super Jaws. For those who don't have extra strength and money, definitely go for the 2 small ones. For those who want the best, maybe go for the 2 big ones. And for those who want to experience the differences firsthand, they can buy 1 small and 1 large, and then see which one they end up using more often or simply prefer. If you get a deal on this one, you can buy 2 of the small ones for the price of the big one, but if you get a deal on the big one, it won't be that much more expensive compared to the small one. As I said at the very beginning, there is no winner or loser, but you should have comprehensive information for your potential decision making. If you want to clamp meter-long boards, the small jaws won't be enough, and you'll need to go for the XXL model. However, if you want easy handling, low weight, and the same clamping force, then the smaller model will be better for you. It doesn't matter which one you chose, the important thing is that it serves you well, so I wish you good luck with your selection. Thanks for watching, take care, and keep clamping.